Hello and welcome to How to Write a Resume, one of the online tutorials created by the Office of Career Services at UTB and TSC. In this tutorial, you will gain knowledge and learn how to create an effective resume for your job or internship search. Let's begin. First, we'll discuss the components of the three different types of resumes: chronological, functional, and combination. Secondly, we'll discuss the purpose of a resume. Then, we'll outline the basic sections of an effective resume and the information that should be included. The first section is your contact information. The second section is your education section. Next, we'll discuss the experience section and how to effectively describe your activities and experiences to target the opportunity you are seeking, followed by the awards section. The last section we'll go over is the skills and interests section. Then we'll discuss what you don't need to include on your resume or some common items that are typically unnecessary, followed by some pointers. Finally, we'll talk about the final steps you can take to create a finished product and ensure that your resume is ready to submit to an employer. What's the purpose of a resume? A resume is a self-promotional document that presents you in the best possible light for the purpose of getting invited to a job interview. A resume is a summary of information which consists of career objectives, education, work experience, activities, awards or honors, and any other special skills. Your resume should highlight your strongest assets and differentiate you from other candidates seeking similar positions. Typically, employers take between 30 to 60 seconds to look over a resume, which is why it's important to be brief and informative when describing your education, abilities, and experience. You should always keep the type of position you're seeking in mind when writing your resume so that it reflects the skill set the employer would value. If you plan to apply to different types of positions, you'll want to adjust your resume where possible to reflect what may be different skill set requirements. Remember, a good resume results in a 40 to 50% chance of getting an interview, but 100% of the time, a good interview gets you the job. The three most popular types of resumes are chronological, functional, and combination. Let's spend a few moments discussing all three types in great detail. The first type of resume we will discuss is chronological. Chronological is defined by the arrangement of job experience in chronological order or by listing the most recent first, followed by any other job the applicant may have. A key factor to remember is that the most popular of the three resumes to employers is a chronological resume. The second type of resume is functional. A functional resume is defined as experience that is ranged according to area of skills and work experience. This format is excellent if the candidate is looking for an entry-level job or completely changing their occupational field. Lastly, the combination resume is defined as a blend of chronological and functional styles. This format is best utilized by high school students and entry-level college students. A key factor to remember is the wording of your resume. Complete sentences are acceptable, but they are not required. It is vital to be consistent throughout the whole document. In other words, if you use complete sentences in one area, you must use them in all areas. How should a resume be organized? Your resume should be divided into 5 main sections: contact information, education, experience, awards, and skills and interests. The first, your contact information, is the least complicated but one of the most important sections. Your name is usually centered at the top of the page. Underneath your name should be your primary phone number and email address. Be sure to use a professional email address, such as your UTB and TSC email. If you're currently a student and want to use a temporary school address and home address, you can place the addresses on the left and right of the page. The next section, education, should list your university, your expected degree, and graduation date, and your concentration. If you haven't declared a concentration, you can leave that part blank or list an anticipated concentration. If you've committed a lot of time to paid work during the academic year or to an extracurricular activity such as a sport or volunteer work, you may want to insert a phrase such as works 20 hours a week to help defray costs of tuition, or committed 25 hours per week to the SEI program. A few other items you may want to include are relevant coursework. For example, you may want to highlight a course in economics if the job you are applying for requires quantitative skills. Many students wonder whether their GPA should appear on a resume. A GPA is a risky addition to your resume. Therefore, it is in your best interest to include your GPA only if it is a 3.0 or better. Your experience section should be the most substantial part of your resume. It outlines the past activities, positions, and leadership roles you've held and how they qualify you for a future job or internship. Keep in mind that your extracurricular experiences can be just as valuable as any work, internship, or volunteer experience you may have had. The section headings under experience will depend on what you're applying for. For instance, if you're applying for an internship at a theater and you've previously worked or been involved in performing arts, you can title a section Performing Arts Experience. It's okay to divide your experience section into two sections, so that your other experiences will be under the heading Additional or Other Experience. When titling each experience, list the organization first and then your title, unless your titles are all highly relevant to the position you're applying for. In this case, you should consider listing the title before the organization. Then, within your sections, be sure to put your experiences in reverse chronological order or most recent first. How should you describe your experiences? Under each listing, write a concise description of the functions you performed and the goals you've achieved using the vocabulary of the industry to which you're applying. Use action verbs to describe your accomplishments and to add value to the job position you are seeking. These are often ED verbs when put in the past tense, such as initiated, managed, led, collaborated, or coordinated. Quantify your achievements wherever possible. For example, developed a training program for 25 charity runners. A helpful list of action verbs is available in the resume guide. Avoid using phrases such as helped, assisted, or responsible for, as this doesn't communicate to an employer that you actually completed the task you were assigned. Include selected honors if you've received recognition for outstanding academic work. It's common for many freshmen and sophomores to list high school information on the resume, but the space you devote to honors or activities from high school should depend on their contribution to the total message of your resume. The final section on your resume is commonly called your skills and interests section. In this section, you can indicate your level of fluency in a foreign language. Keep in mind that if you list knowledgeable language, whether it's fluency, proficiency, or a working knowledge, be prepared to be expected to converse in the language during your interview. You can also list in this section any software programs with which you're proficient. Finally, a brief list of interests that haven't been included on your resume, such as travel, playing an instrument, or a type of sport you enjoy, can signify that you're a well-rounded person and may establish an initial bond of common interest with an interviewer. There are a few things you don't need to include on your resume. You don't need a general one-size-fits-all job objective section, as your cover letter will be your way to outline your objective and tailor it to each job application. You will need an objective if you do not have a well-written cover letter attached with your resume. Most college students don't need a summary of qualifications. Keep in mind, however, that if you're a graduate student or a lump with some years of work experience, a summary may be useful to help communicate your qualifications to employers more clearly. You don't need a list of references or include a statement such as references available upon request. The employer or organization will ask for them later if you're a top candidate for the position. Personal information such as your age, gender, political or religious affiliation, or a photograph should not appear on your resume. Keep in mind that if you're applying to somewhere outside the U.S., resume requirements may be different. Your resume should be neat, attractive, and easy to read. Choose one type style and use it throughout. Serif fonts, such as Times New Roman, are easiest to read and often preferred. Beware of using very small type. Between 10 and 12-point font is standard, but a compact font, such as Garamond, can be too small and at 10 point. Be purposeful with your use of capitals, boldface, bullet points, positioning, and spacing. 1-inch margins, but not less than 3/4 inch, on all sides will help prevent it from looking crowded. Make sure you can properly convert your resume to a PDF document if an employer asks for it. Finally, and most importantly, double-check your resume for spelling and grammatical errors. A silly mistake can mean losing your chance for an interview. For additional help creating an effective resume, visit the Office of Career Services during daily drop-in hours. Also, check out resume resources on the website or pick up the resume guide in our resource area. We hope you enjoy this tutorial and appreciate your feedback. Remember, there is no one universal template used to build a resume. There is a variation. Match the job you are seeking to the resume you are writing. The job description is a key to writing a good resume. Verbs in that job description need to be emphasized in that resume in order for it to be effective. For additional questions or to schedule an appointment, please visit us at www.utb.edu/sa/career services. We are currently located at the Student Services Building, open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our phone number is 956-882-5627. Thank you, and remember, knowledge has no boundaries.